Hey guys, this is Kevin from JazTime.com, and today we'll be doing a comparison between the Rolex Sea Dweller 4000 here on my left, reference number 116600, and we'll be comparing it against the Rolex Sea Dweller 50th Anniversary Edition, shown recently at the Bezel World's 2017 show. The model number for this watch is 126600. We'll be going over the price, the dials, bezel, case, crown, bracelet, clasp, and we'll talk about the movement towards the end of the video. Alright, so as of September 2017, the Sea Dweller 4000 unfortunately is currently discontinued, and that was to make way for the Sea Dweller 50th Anniversary Edition. It originally retailed for $10,400, but due to market demands and being discontinued with no extra models out there, you can still get it for at JazTime.com for as low as $10,500. For the Sea Dweller 50th Anniversary Edition, you're looking at a retail pricing of $11,350. However, because of it being such a new watch as of September 2017, and it's still being in very high demand, you're looking at a above retail value of $13,600 at JazTime.com. Alright, so let's go ahead and compare the dials of the watches to see what differences they've done. So one thing to mention about the history of the Sea Dweller, the 4000 was originally released in 2014. That was due to a long shortage of Sea Dwellers being released. Only the Deep Sea was released around 2009 or so before we got the Sea Dweller in 2014. However, it only lasted about 3 years before it was discontinued for the 50th Anniversary Edition. So let's take a look at what they've done between those three years to see the changes that they've made to this Sea Dweller. So looking from the dial, we still have that same overall look of the maxi hour markers, which are fashioned in 18 karat white gold. We have the circular hour markers with the index at the 6, 9, and the triangular 12. One big thing to notice is that there's a Cyclops lens on the newer edition of the Sea Dweller. As you can see, there's no Cyclops lens on the 4000, and that was mainly due to the crystal being a thicker crystal than most Rolex watches. The Cyclops lens actually prevented the magnification from working properly, so a little technological advancement there for them to add on that Cyclops lens. However, I did read around that some people don't actually like the Cyclops lens on the new Sea Dweller, mainly because it's kind of not in line with the previous Sea Dweller models, that none of them had the Cyclops lens. So that's just personal preference there. Okay. The other thing to mention about the watch is the red text. So as you can see on the 4000, we have the Sea Dweller name in a white text, while the Sea Dweller 50th Anniversary Edition, we have it in a red text. And that's kind of interesting, as I mentioned that we didn't receive this 4000 until 2014. And when that was released, some people were assuming that the red text would be on the 4000, since we hadn't seen a Sea Dweller in quite a while. So it's actually interesting that they put it on the 50th Anniversary Edition. It actually makes more sense to put it on an Anniversary Edition rather than just some regular Sea Dweller. So why is that important? Well, that's important for a few reasons. Mainly, one thing that's to mention is that the Sea Dweller name is in red. However, it is only a singular line of red text. Most discuss that the more vintage Sea Dwellers had double line red text, which was the 1665 model back in the 1967s. The Sea Dweller models had double lines of red text, which would say the Sea Dweller name and then Submariner 2000. So it's 2 lines of red text. The same reference model, however, also had a singular red text model, but there's only been a very, very few confirmed cases of it having a single red line. And by very, very few, I mean about like 6 or so confirmed cases of the Submariner. So it's the single line red text was much more rare. So it's kind of interesting that Rolex has chosen to do a single red line text over a double line red text for the Anniversary Edition. Okay, another thing to mention is that the red text itself was actually removed in the 1970s edition of the model. So it kind of would have made sense for the 4000 to actually have the red text after being not really showing up after a while, but it makes more sense for it to be on the 50th anniversary edition. So pretty cool thing there. The glow in the dark feature, as you can see, white filled luminosity actually glows in the dark for up to 8 hours with a long lasting blue luminescence. And that's pretty much it for the dials and differences, just the Cyclops lens and the red text there. Of course, a little bit larger real estate as the C Roller 50th anniversary is a little bit larger. Moving on to the bezel now. The bezel, they both have the same bezel, which is the unidirectional rotatable 60-minute graduated scratch resistant Cerachrome, which is Rolex's name for their ceramic bezels. The numerals and the graduations are coated in a platinum. And the feature of the bezel, you can actually check it out on our YouTube channel. We actually go over the feature and how to use the bezel. It's just to track elapsed time. And you can go ahead and check that out. So moving on to the case now. As I mentioned, the case size of the newer C Roller is a 43mm case. The C Roller 4000 is a 40mm case. So from an index finger to my thumb here, that's 40mm. Index finger to my thumb, that's 43mm in diameter. So the C Roller 4000 is more in line with the original C Roller models, the vintage models, the 1665, which is the 40mm diameter case sizes. So it's kind of interesting that they did a step up from the 50th anniversary to be a 43mm, which would make it one of the largest Rolex models outside of the deep sea. But it kind of doesn't. It's something that actually doesn't make isn't confusing, because Rolex has actually upsize most of their watches now. So for example, like the Explorer 1, instead of being a 36, it's a 39 now. The date just going from 36 to 41. Rolex has been upsizing all their watches across the board, so it's not a new thing for them to be upsizing even the C Roller to a 43mm. Okay, besides that, on these, I'll show you the size of the case here. There we are. As you can see, we have this little circular indentation. That's a helium escape valve. Both these watches have it, and basically what it's used for is once divers are in a depressurization chamber for a few days, the helium gas molecules are small enough to actually enter into the watch and build pressure up into the C Roller. And the older models that didn't have the helium escape valve, basically the helium would not exit the watch quickly enough, so it would pop out the crystal due to the helium gases building up so much pressure. So Rolex, they developed this helium escape valve, which after a certain point where the helium builds enough pressure, this actually spring loaded opens up and releases that helium out, protecting the crystal from popping out. So pretty interesting thing there. But besides that, we have a beautiful high polish on the side of the case, and this is a 9040 steel, which is Rolex's in-house made steel. Has additional corrosion resistance, and you can see that beautiful high polish shine that comes with it as well. Of course, the anniversary edition is going to be a little bit thicker, being at a really 14 millimeters in thickness, very very close to the deep sea. Obviously, because there is a larger case size as well. On the other sides of the watch, we have that same high polish on the sides of the case with the Rolex crown logo on the crown itself. So following the same fashion, nice high polish, travels very nicely along the sides of the bracelet patterning very nicely. As we move on to the crowns now, of course both of them do have the same crown guards. I'll go over the functions of the crown very quickly here, just to give you an idea. They both have the same similar functions. They're both screw down triple waterproofness systems, in which you can unwind counterclockwise as shown. In this first position is the winding position, in which you can wind the watch up to 15 to 20 times from a dead stop will be enough for the watch. Tugging the crown very gently once more will let you adjust the date or set the date instantaneously, as you can see from the date aperture just going clockwise, adjust the date very quickly, and a final tug of the crown in the final position will stop the seconds hand or the hack movement as shown, and that lets you set the time of the watch in the precise time settings, such as to an atomic clock. You set it down to exact seconds, and then as you can see, the hands move bi-directionally. Always make sure screw the crown nice and tight against the case, as you want to keep the watch water resistant, specifically for the seed oiler, as the text states at the very bottom. 4,000 feet or 1,220 meters. And as you can see, the seconds hand has started once more. And that goes for both seed oilers. They both work the same way when it comes to the crown. Okay, moving on to the bracelet now. Bracelets, same type of bracelet. It's just an oyster bracelet. They're both sports divers watches. So we have this beautiful brushed steel satin finish 3-piece oyster bracelet. Of course, this Sweet Oiler 43s is going to be a little bit larger due to this case size. For the clasp, same style clasp, which is a folding safety folding oyster clasp. And I'll go ahead and show you really quickly here the functions. So you go ahead and tug off that safety, pull that off, and this in my hand here is a Sweet Oiler 4000. We have a beautiful brushed sandblasted clasp blade with high polish on the top and bottom for a nice contrasting shine. Okay. For the clasp, both these watches have the same function, and it's what's called the glide lock extension link. So at a 45-degree angle, you pop that bracelet downwards, and you can adjust through these little rivets here, 2mm increments for 20 millimeter increments of adjustment. And one thing to mention is at the full pull-out length, we have these flat links, which is an additional extension for divers that have wetsuits. It allowed for them to quickly adjust on the fly to their size of the wetsuit, and this was a extra 26 millimeter adjustment for the link. I'll go ahead and actually show you on the anniversary edition, as this one does have the stickers nicely tight on the link, so I don't want to pop that open. So now we have the anniversary submariner here in my hand. Once more, flip, safety pops open, opens up very nicely. A little difference in clasp blade here, as now we have this full high polish, and this was actually a change in 2016 that Rolex kind of did not really announce, but they've changed the center of this clasp blade into a high polish, mainly because the sandblasted texture of the previous clasp blade would actually start to come off. So they switched it to a high polish, which is actually very nice as well. So once again, 45-degree angle, you can go ahead and adjust that glide lock again. And for the flip lock, as shown right here, all you need to do is pull that upwards, and there we are. There's that extra 26 millimeter length adjustment. Okay. Go ahead and put that back. See, very quick, very easy to adjust, and very handy to have. It's a very, very nice feature. All right, so on to the last part of the video now. We're going to go ahead and talk about the movements of the watches. So let's go ahead and show you the backs first. So here are the backs of the watch. So they have that same similar oyster case backing with the Rolex Sweet Oiler name and a helium escape valve embossed onto the back of the case back there. As you can see on the high polish of the text, you see those the Rolex crown logos and that text. However, there is a difference in movements now. The Sweet Oiler 4000, Sweet Oiler 4000 here on my left, this one actually had what's called the 3135 movement, which is one of Rolex's very basic in-house made movements that's been tried and tested and used for over 10 years. He's used also in these Submariner and deep sea models. And that movement is a perpetual mechanical self-winding movement. It is in COSC, or superlative chronometer certification, which means it's in specifications of -2 + 2 seconds a day. As a function of the center, hour, minute, seconds hand with the instantaneous changing of the date and stopping of the seconds hands, as I've shown you with the crown functions. The power reserve of the watch is 48 hours. And comparing that to the newer Sweet Oiler, the 50th anniversary edition, then the anniversary edition has the newer and latest updated version of that movement. This one, the C dollar 50th anniversary edition, is running what's the 3235 movement, which is based on Rolex's flagship model, the Day-Date President, which has a 3255 movement. So really the main changes between the two movements from the 3135 to 3235 is that they've added what's called the chronology escapement, which is a skeletonized escape wheel made out of a nickel phosphorus alloy. The skeletonization of that escape wheel helps with the reduction of inertia and helps with more efficient energy usage, while the nickel phosphorus alloy that it's made with adds additional rather significant resistance to magnetism, so highly magnetic resistant. The other main thing is that because of that escape wheel, the power reserve of this watch is 70 hours, now up from that 48 from the 4000. So that means you can put the C dollar would make it from a Friday night to a Sunday night, or rather a Friday night to a Saturday night, whereas a Friday night to a Sunday night, whereas the anniversary edition would make it from a Friday night to a Monday night. So pretty interesting there. So let's go ahead and get these watches on the wrist now. Show you how that looks. So once again, that safety, that folding oyster. Go ahead and pop that on. Okay. See, and there's the C dollar 4000. A very simple watch. Profile not too high, very closer to a Submariner's profile, as you can see. Very nice. And here is the 50th anniversary edition C dollar. Go ahead and pop that open as well. Pop on. Okay, and there's that C dollar. I actually really like that red text on the dial. Makes it kind of breaks up the monotony of just all white on black. So it's a very nice little contrast there. Profile very high, as you can see. It sits pretty high off my wrist. Probably wouldn't fit under a suit cuff or dress cuff very easily. So here's the two watches side by side as best as I can. Here we are. As you can see, a little bit too much. All right. Okay. So if you're interested in these models or any other models for the lowest possible price, check out our website at JazTime.com. We have the lowest prices guaranteed. We offer a 1-year warranty. Okay. And if you like the video, please like, comment, and subscribe below. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys soon.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at JazTime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazTime, plus the brand, model, and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.